Well, thank you for staying with us and welcome back. We're about to go right into our discussion segment this morning. Now, a couple of days ago, I was on social media. In fact, somebody sent a video on the platform I belong to. So I went into it looking at the content of it. And I discovered that this group of persons were actually properly packaging yams in cartons. And guess what? Guess where this was happening? In Ghana, and the person who sent this video, put the video on the platform, was actually just expressing his concern over the fact that we have some of these commodities in large quantity, and yet when it comes to exporting, we are not exporting as much as we should. Don't forget that we have a large number of Nigerians in the diaspora, and there is an available market where we can always get these commodities to, trade to them and all of that. Then away from that as well, it appears crude oil is the only commodity or commodity we export in this country without any hassle, and even with that, it is significantly at threat as well. And there are a whole lot of things a whole lot of examples we can point out. But this morning on the show, we're going to be looking at a topic: the Nigerian export sector stopping the rejection of local produce by other countries. And our guest this morning, who joins us via Zoom from Lagos, is Bamidele Ayemibo. He's an economist. Bamidele, good morning to you, and thank you for joining us on News Hub this morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm hoping that, I'm sure if you have not seen that video I just made mention of.
I saw it. I saw it. When
you saw it, right?
Finally, I've seen it, yes.
All right. So please, this is where we are. I mean, we have, it baffles me. It has always been a problem in Nigeria, but I wonder why we are not getting this particular thing right. Processing our produce here in the country properly and exporting. We have heard countless stories of people who have made attempts to export their products, but at some point, these products are rejected. So where are we in all of this, and how badly is this impacting on our economy?
It's a very bad situation, actually. First of all, some of those yam might have escaped through Shaki to Ghana. And the reason is because Nigeria is the largest producer of yam in the world. We produce more than 30-40% of global yam production. But Ghana is one of the top exporters of yam, exporting much more than Nigeria, even though Nigeria produces more. And there are story around the fact that some of the yam from Nigeria, because Ghana have master yam export, they put a good process in place to ensure. And there was a time I was doing a particular stuff concerned for a government agency on this issue, and we're comparing Nigeria export process and Ghanaian export process. And I realized that there is no way a bad quality product will leave Ghana because of the process they put in place. But in Nigeria, that is happening, which is why, of course, we are experiencing rejection. This is damaging our reputation, no doubt, because some country will, in fact, it's so bad that cashew nuts from Benin Republic command better price, sometimes up to $50-$100 per ton, more than Nigerian cashew nuts, even though Nigeria produces more cashew nuts than Benin Republic. Yeah. So it's damaging our reputation. It's making us to lose market share because people would rather buy from other countries. For example, beans is another good example. Our beans have been banned in Europe because of diclovers, a pesticide residue that was supposed to be less than, I think, 0.03 microgram per kg. Nigeria sometimes up to 1 to 2 microgram per kg. That's why even in our beans, eating locally, that is good, you parboil and decant the water before you eat because of the level of insecticide that was put inside. Now, that have made our beans to be banned in the EU. But now, Nigerians have been able to devise a means to prevent adding pesticide, now using organic method to prevent it. But because the ban is still on, so people are shipping by road to Ghana and shipping out through Ghana. I mean, this is how it's affecting us, because a number of products that are good quality are leaving Nigeria today, but could not go from Nigeria as the origin, going to neighboring countries because of this implication of this action and the fact that we've had some terrible reputation as far as quality of goods are concerned, particularly agro commodities.
Bamidele, I want, before we cross over to David, you know, while you were answering this question, I couldn't help but think of the fact that looking at what is wrong, you can't ignore the fact that state governors are involved in this. I mean, states where we cultivate these products, they should take responsibility for the poor, poor output and all of that. But then the question is, who are those directly responsible for this misfortune, I must say?
Now, Nigeria is a very interesting place because we have a lot of overlaps in the work of government agencies that should be responsible to prevent this from happening. But recently, NAFDAC is trying to champion that cause. Now, we have Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service, which is supposed to ensure that any plant-based product exported out of Nigeria is fit for human consumption. We have the Federal Produce Inspection Service, who is supposed to ensure that there is no pest. In fact, there was a time that Nigerian hibiscus was banned from Mexico. Mexico is one of the major buyers from Nigeria. It was banned because they see small, tiny pests. And they sent an alert to Nigeria, and it didn't stop. They now ban us. Now, if that container was fumigated, that would probably have helped to prevent those pests from happening. And that's supposed to be the job of Federal Produce Inspection Service. Now, NAFDAC said that in the mandate, the law establishing them, that they are supposed to take care of any food item leaving Nigeria to ensure the quality is okay. So they are now enforcing, which is good, even though I have some issue with the way they are going about. You know, when government have a very good intention, but sometimes you're not going about it in a way, you are trying to solve a problem, but in the course of solving that problem, you are creating another problem. But what NAFDAC is trying to do right now is commendable, and what they are trying to do is to ensure that no product leave Nigeria that is not of good quality. That means if your product must leave, then the product must be certified by NAFDAC. That means the sample will have been taken to a NAFDAC lab for analysis. However, the concern I have with the way NAFDAC is going about it is the fact that they are making it, they are doing it for all products, which is good. But they don't have all it takes yet. For example, I was at an event last week, in which someone was complaining because now NAFDAC is bringing in commodities. They used to do only processed goods. Now bringing commodities. Someone doing cocoa in Ondo State said they have to send the sample to Lagos from Ondo State. And the sample goes once a week because the lab is in Lagos. That is delaying the rate, the shipment volume we can do. In fact, we're expecting if this continues, we might have a reduction. We need so much dollar, reduction in export volume out of Nigeria this year. So what I was telling NAFDAC is, the data NAFDAC presented shows that sesame seed is the most rejected product. Sesame seed, dry beans, followed by dry beans, followed by melon seed, followed by granite, followed by ginger. In fact, cocoa is not even on the list NAFDAC presented. So I'm saying, why don't you just focus on this product first and fix it? Because it's like the cocoa people have gotten their ass together, another product have gotten their ass together. If this is the product, according to your data, between 2014 and 2023, these are the products that are in high level of rejection. Since you don't have all the facility, the labs are in only few places in Nigeria, why don't you just start with the few while you are working towards adding other products? All products should be inspected, up to certification before leaving Nigeria, no doubt. But why try to do that? We shouldn't be causing another problem, because the cocoa people are complaining bitterly that there are multiple agencies, although if those agencies are doing their job, we won't have the rejection, which is why NAFDAC stepped in, which is why I don't have any issue with NAFDAC stepping in. They need to step in, but the way they are going about it might be an issue. So in terms of those that are responsible, maybe NAFDAC, Federal Produce, and Nigeria Agricultural Quarantine Service, but NAFDAC was not actively involved before, even though the law established said they should. Now they are taking it up. We are expecting to see a significant drop in rejection. However, we might be seeing a drop in the volume of export also.
Really sad narrative you just painted there, Bamidele. Pretty sad narrative you just painted there, but then that is what it is in Nigeria. Also identified as part of the issues why Nigerian produce are being rejected, lack of documentation on safety. I think this is also a very key concern. Is it that these bottlenecks are there, or is it that the importers are not well informed in what they should do? Because I think we should be having dialogue sessions with importers on how they should learning how to document their products for food safety, and even what they should do from the planting from the farms. Because if you talk about a certain level of insecticide that is unacceptable and we still keep doing it, that means something is not right in terms of knowledge for the farmers. How do you think we can begin to address this huge concern, Bamidele?
Thank you very much. Very important question. You know, what is interesting about this is the fact that the level of ignorance, sincerely, among some of the exporters is really appalling. Because some people only get to know what they could have done to prevent what happened to them after they've exported, because they never had that knowledge before they exported. But that could have been prevented, which is why I was referring to the case of Ghana. Now, with what NAFDAC is doing now, if I buy bad quality products as an exporter from farmers, and NAFDAC do the analysis and it didn't go, they will issue me certificate of inspection that will enable me to be able to clear it through custom for export. That means I won't buy from that farmer again. Then I will inform that farmer that your product is bad. That is what I've advocated for years. That look, if an exporter buy a low quality product and it got to the port and the product cannot leave because of the quality, he will not do it the next time. And that means we will not be hearing rejection outside. We'll be seeing the rejection right from Nigerian port. That is what I expect to begin to happen now, because since NAFDAC certificate will be required now to issue what is called clean certificate of inspection by the government pre-shipment inspection again, and then that's also a prerequisite for custom to clear the good for export and put it on the vessel, then everybody now is able to sit up. So I hope that the tempo that NAFDAC starts will continue. Now, so ignorance, I think, is the major challenge. Now, for the farmers, a lot of farmers have been educated. UNIDO have done a lot of, what's the name, agencies of government, particularly when the beans were banned. NEPC and the Ministry of Agri, they came up with different initiatives to educate farmers. But you know, when someone is used to a particular way of doing things, and then people are buying it that way, which is the problem. If they are not getting buyers again, and the buyer are telling them, we can't buy your product because of this particular issue, they will begin to do it. So there is ignorance on the part of the farmer, ignorance on the part of the exporter, and even what I would call lack of export readiness. Let me define export readiness. Export readiness is a multifaceted concept that involves the ability of a business to successfully enter the export market, sustainably compete in the market, and significantly grow its market share until it becomes established in the market. So what happened is, many people are able to enter, but they are not able to continue because they were not export ready. There are so many things they need to do. In doing, it's like I go to a doctor and the doctor evaluates me and check me and diagnose this, a particular sickness, and make a recommendation or prescribe a drug for me to go and use to cure the ailment. That's exactly what export assessment does. It helps a business to evaluate its business structure and system to be sure this, to identify the areas it's lacking and go and fix that before it even start to export in the first place. If that is what happened, then we would have prevented this from happening. So, to be able to solve the problem of ignorance, capacity building will be required. Lack of export readiness, we need to begin to do readiness assessment, maybe before even giving export certificate that NEPC give. And then, of course, lack of enforcement. But that enforcement is now coming on board because of what NAFDAC is doing, and we hope to see a reduction in this rejection very soon.
This is very key. If we had about 70% rejection, I can imagine how the impact this would have on our export revenue going forward. Let's look at other bottlenecks. We've also had exporters complain that the bottlenecks at the port sometimes keep their goods longer than expected, and because of that, most of these commodities go bad even after inspection. They go bad before getting on board. What are these bottlenecks that you have identified in terms of export processes in Nigeria?
It's the gridlock in Apapa, actually, but I must say, because I'm an exporter, and I must say that gridlock and that delay has significantly reduced. That I can say from all the shipment I've done since last year November till first quarter and second quarter of this year, the time it takes me, there was a time I finished loading in, there is a terminal at Lillipon where you can bring in your commodities inspection and loading. And then from there, based on the ETO app that is being used to determine who goes first and ensure that all trucks are not just going to queue, but they are leaving based on authorization. We find a situation in which we have to, from that particular point into Apapa, from Thursday, I didn't get to Apapa until Monday. That was sometime last year. But late last year, we are now doing it in less than a day, sometimes max 2 days. So we are seeing that the gridlock, which is the major challenge in terms of logistics in Apapa, is now reducing. So I would say that problem has been maybe 70-80% solved. That's the problem of gridlock in Apapa that can delay and the bottleneck delay in entering the port. Now, but there's still a challenge. The challenge, which I would say will cripple export if it's not addressed, is the cost. The cost. Can you imagine that we are looking for foreign exchange in Nigeria to be able to show the value of Naira, but Federal Airport Authority, talking about airport now, is charging a fee that is making export freight from Nigeria prohibitively high compared to our neighboring countries, such that even other government agencies trying to appeal to them to reduce it cannot make that happen. I was at an event and I was asking the official of the NPC that, look, why can't you report this to the presidency? If we say we want to grow export, we want to increase the value of Naira, shouldn't we be putting in policy, just the way the government is doing, reducing the fee that people are paying for duty for items being imported to be able to reduce inflation? Shouldn't we be doing the same thing for export to be able to encourage a lot of shipment by air, because that is even a lot faster to get to destination, and that might be able to increase the volume of inflow into the country. So I would say the bottleneck is reduced in terms of logistics and gridlock, but the kind of challenge we are having right now is the cost of doing the business, which can also be discouraging because of the profit that will be affected by the cost locally.
Well, I think we've hit the nail on the head. I think we've addressed all the issues that that the export sector has been faced with, and we are hoping that going forward, that all authorities involved, parties involved in this will begin to do the right thing. It is indeed very embarrassing when we have smaller countries, get approvals, and then our products are getting rejected within the international community. Well, thank you so very much, Bamidele Oyenibo. Thank you for your time with us on the show. Always a pleasure speaking with you on News Up.
Thank you very much for having me, and bye-bye.
A fantastic conversation. Let's get it right. Let's begin to get it right in Nigeria going